Good morning. Christmas is getting nearer and nearer. I'm organised in some respects, but I have got the videos to sort out as well, and I've got meeting friends and things like that, and obviously family, and sorting all sorts of things out, but it's all going well. I love the chaos, to be totally honest. My craft room is an absolute nightmare. I wouldn't dare show it anybody at the moment. So my job, as soon as all the Christmas jobs are done, is gut it, get it clean, because I have promised I would do a video, of the room at some point, but at the moment I wouldn't do it at the moment. But what we're going to be looking at, like I've mentioned previous video, we're going to be doing 2 of my yarn advents together. So you will know what the project is because it's on the thumbnail. At this point, I don't know what the project is because I don't know what the yarn is. So here we have 11 and 12. It's a good job it was only 12 days of Christmas, isn't it? So we're going to look at both of them. I'm sure they're going to be gorgeous as always. These are the yarns from Fairy Realm Yarns. I always want to put an S on somewhere where I shouldn't when I do that. The links will be below though, so if you want to have a look at her products. She's on Etsy. She's so nice to talk to as well, and the products are absolutely divine. So have a look over there if you like your artisan yarns. So we're going to go top down now. We're going to open both of these, and then there's going to be a little project. I have to go off and obviously wind my wool up and then come back and video the last bit, because obviously these are sort of like in skeins and they do need to be wound into little balls. So I'll see you in a second, top down. Well, here we are with the final 2 projects. Oh, look, you can still see my little stitch marker from the last one. Really do love that. So we're going to have a look at our last 2 colours from Fairy Realm Yarns. It has been a wonderful 12 days of Christmas yarn selection. Definitely recommend it for next year, but I recommend the yarns anyway because I've got some of them. But obviously there's quite a lot on Etsy because I do love all my different yarns. So there's a few people on there that are absolutely wonderful. So 11 and 12, we're just having a look. You know what the project is at this moment. I don't know, because obviously I have to wind these up and then film it separate. So it's a little bit weird. So we're going to go with, look at this. Oh, this is like a darker one of my last one. This is more like a burnt orange. Now that is a really, really nice colour. What shall we do? I don't know. I mean, the other thing is, I said that I would look at, I think I showed you, I can't get into it. Look, this is my little sort of rack of mini balls and mini skeins, and this is my little blanket. Well, it'll be a blanket in about 10 years time because I'm using just the last bits of any sort of mini skeins or any bits of sock yarn I've got left over, so I'm not wasting it, and I'm just keep adding it, so it's made every colour under the sun, but it's working out quite nicely at the moment. So yes, so if there's any spares, I will be doing that. So I might look at that at the end of this video. So we have number 12. Let's see, my last one. Oh, this is really nice. Now this picks up the colours great. I mean, the thing is, all these colours, if you'd have wanted just to do a massive blanket, like I've just said, well, massive, they're only mini skeins, I know, but it would make a fair size. But if you wanted to do that, the way these colours are coming in together, it would be perfect. Or if you're making a pair of socks or something like that. Now that is lovely. We're now going towards the reds, but it's not a red, so it does blend in with everything else. Because if you look, we've got some colours. I mean, if you put them next to each other, you could easily use them together. If I sort of wound that up together like that, they would be really complementary together. So I think they're wonderful. So what are we going to do? I don't know. We might actually just do a little bit of granny square work. Looking at my blanket, and people have also asked me, there was a scarf I made a while back which the granny squares went this way. They weren't granny squares, are they? But the stitch, the treble stitches. And a few people have asked me, well, how do you do it? Now, I have explained it. It's not a great one to write, I must admit. But I have explained it to a couple of people, and they've gone on and made their scarves. But, smart doll, I think we're going to make a smart doll scarf, and I can show you the technique that you can then take to a double knit yarn. You can take it to a chunky yarn, and you can make yourself a scarf. Well, you can make anything from your doll to your dog to your cat to you to your children. Everybody can have a scarf in this particular style. I must remember to bring my scarf in as well if I'm doing that, because it's so easy but it looks so effective. So we will do that one, I think. So I think I'm sort of sorted for projects. I still have my Attic Spin Die Christmas Eve box. Yeah, can't wait to open that one because there's lots of goodies. So I will be doing another yarn video before Christmas. But I think that is probably it for yarn. It's probably going to be it as far as projects are concerned. Then we will start the new year with, I don't know what yet. I'm hoping my brain will start working over Christmas. So I'll see you in a second or two with our little projects. I'll see you soon. Well, here we are with my final 2 yarns from Fairy Realm Yarns, and they've been absolutely wonderful. As you can see, I've already been having a little bit of a play with this one. These are the 2 that I have wound up, and this is going to be more of a technique perhaps rather than a project. I've had a lot of people ask me about this scarf that I made and how I did it. It's probably one of the easiest ways to make a scarf you could possibly do. Now, this originally was going to be a blanket, and I got bored when I got that far, so I just sort of folded it over, sewed it together, and I made my scarf. But I've had quite a lot of really nice comments made about it, so, and it's lovely and cozy. That's done with Stylecraft Yarns, that one. But obviously, let's have a look how you could do this. Seriously, anybody could do this. It's such an easy technique. I've been having a little bit of a play with the pink, so as you can see, I don't know whether it's really got a name. I'm inclined to say they're Granny Rose because you've got this 3 treble combination and the way it goes into the space rather than the stitch, very much like a granny square. Now I'm just looking here whether this is going to show up. I might start again with the pink. I can always use that little bit. I don't worry about that because I will undo that, and you know I referred to doing, if I can see it, it is here. Referred to my sort of square, my granny square, that so it's going to take me years to do. Whenever I have sort of any ends or bits and bobs, I'll use them on this rather than throw them away, but I've got loads to do. It's going to take me forever, that. So that is what I'm going to use in there. So I'm just going to pop that on that box. I will undo it and use it on there, because as much as this is a gorgeous yarn, as you saw from previous, because I'm working on this colour surface, I don't think it's going to show up as well. Now I'm hoping there's no blur in here, because when I watched my last one back, I thought it looked a little bit blurry, so apologies for that if so. If it is doing, I don't know why. I'm hoping there's nothing wrong with my phone. That is the only problem I have there. Right, so I'm going to use this pink again. I'm going to just drop it in the yarn ball that I've got over there before it starts rolling about. And I'm going to do 26 stitches. Now, obviously, if you're doing a scarf, you do it to whatever length you require. If it's a doll scarf, obviously, make your chain and imagine it sort of sitting around the doll or for yourself. This is quite long. I mean, this is a big scarf. So you can see it is quite long, but it's not like a sort of, I can't think of the word, it's a cowl type scarf. So I put it on and then I fold it over again. So it is sort of quite large in that respect. So you've got to decide. Everybody likes different scarves, different sizes. So I'm just doing the 26 stitches, and then you would multiply by however many extra that you want. And this is also going to be a square, so it is just giving you an example of that. So 26 chain, 1, 2, I'm not doing them too tight either, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and 26. So I've got my little 26 chain. Now the whole thing is worked in trebles. Let me bring the little pink one back so we've sort of got an idea there as well. They are just trebles all the way. So for our first one though, we need to do 3 chain. Now remember where you finish, so make a point of sort of keeping your finger where you did that last chain, and we want 3 more. 1, 2 and 3. And that 3 is your first treble. Okay, so it counted as a stitch. So it came out of that one. So then we need to miss 2. So I'm going to go 1 and I'm going to go 2 and I'm going to go in here. And when I go in there, it's harder to see on the 4-ply, so you probably have to listen to me rather than see. I can't get it in. There you go. I'm going to now do 3 trebles. 3, can you see 3? If I put my hand that way, yes, 3. So here we go. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you think about it, that's 3 stitches into 1. So if there's 3 into 1, that means we need to miss 2. 1, 2, and then in the next one we can do another 3, because it has to keep, as I drop it, has to keep the equivalent sort of stitch distance, otherwise it'll start changing its shape. And I've messed that up totally, haven't I? Yarn round, it is a treble, UK treble, don't forget. If you start doing a US treble, it will be totally different. So it is a UK treble, so you might need a conversion chart. So again, we have to miss 2 and into here. I hate this first row. I know I'm always moaning about foundation rows, but I absolutely hate them. When you get past them, it's so much easier. So we have another 3 there, so we missed 2, 1, and in this one here. This is why don't do the chain too tight, because it's really hard to see and count, because you'll find, you know, when you've done this 3 in 1, it's pulled the next stitch to it. Can you see how it pulls it tight? So you can't really see it. So you do have to keep an eye on that. So that is a stitch there, then 1, and then 1. To be perfectly honest, if your counting went a little bit skewiff on this first row, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because after this row we're going to be working into spaces rather than stitches. So there we go, 1, 2 into there. Quite often I've come to the end of, you know, say something says it's got to be multiples of 3 or something like that, and I've done that and I've been really good and counted my chains exact, and I've got to the end and I'm going, oh, I've got a stitch missing. But like I say, at this stage, I mean, as long as you haven't got dozens and dozens missing, it doesn't matter. You can get away with it. So 1, 2. So basically, we're doing 3 trebles into a stitch. We miss 2. We do 3 trebles into a stitch. That is all it is. So we've got 1, 2 into that one. To be honest, if you've done it, if you do it sort of regular, you'll start to feel where it's going rather than anything else. I'm trying not to get this too close so it doesn't blur. Let me move my hands down a little bit, see if that helps. So I need to miss 1, 2, and I look like I might have missed a stitch somewhere, but as I'll show you, it doesn't matter. 1, 2, my colour changing now, and 3. Now I need just 1 treble in that last one, because we're doing it as a square. I need a treble at each end, or the 3 chain, just to keep a nice straight line. So yeah, I haven't got 2 to miss there, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay. So there you go, and just tighten that up. So that is our foundation row, which is always the hardest, and you can see it curves a little bit at the bottom there. That sometimes happens if your chain's a bit tight, but it will settle after a while, so don't worry. You do need to get quite a bit before it starts to shape itself. We're going to do 3 chain, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to turn the work. Okay, now I don't know whether you'll be able to see on this one when I turned the work. This is which end I started. We started this end, didn't we? So you can see now we're going to be working 3 trebles, but can you see they're only in the spaces? We're not having to count stitches, they're just going in all these holes. Now I've not done 1 chain spacer. I don't think it's necessary. I think it keeps your work neater and tighter if you don't do it. So directly below, I'm going to count this as my first treble, so I'm going to do 2 more. 1. Those 3 chains will always count as a treble. And now I'm just going to jump to that next space and I'm going to do 3 treble. This is where it sort of comes in that it's granny sort of esque, granny square style-y sort of thing. So, and then just jump to the next space. Because now it's one of those that you can just sit and do. You could be sat watching television doing it, because you're not having to count stitches. You are just jumping straight into those spaces. 1, 2, and 3. Put a little bit more yarn out there. we have 1, 2 and 3 into the next one. So it's just the spaces between the 3 trebles. It's not a chain space, so I can't say that. I know on a lot of granny square patterns it'll say chain space. I have a tendency not to do the chain, so that is just a personal choice. You could do chains in between if you really wanted to, if it's what you're used to doing on a granny square, but I just think it keeps it tighter if you don't. Almost at the end. That was 2. These trebles are really easy to count as well, because they're a long stitch, it's easy to see. So we're almost at the end now, so we need to consider what is going to be at the end. My ball's just jumped out of the yarn bowl. It doesn't want to be there. Right, so now you can see, we had that 1 chain and then we sort of skipped a few and then we did it. So in that space we still need to do another set. So 3, or not 3 because I dropped it. 1, 2 and 3. Now I like to do my chain before you turn. It is entirely up to you. I'm going to 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. That counts as a treble. Turn my work. So now you can see we're going to jump straight into this next one. 3 treble. Next space, 3 treble. I love this dark pink it's going into. 3 treble. So not a lot of thinking to do, no counting to do, apart from 1, 2, 3. And to be honest, you'll start doing that in your sleep if you're making it as a scarf. It's just one of those things you'll just keep doing. So look at how quickly I've gone across that bit now, just by doing 3 trebles into every single space. Now obviously with the original scarf I just changed the colours every sort of 2 rows just to give it something a little bit different, because as I say, I was planning on it being a throw, but I just got very bored. I have very short attention span, unfortunately, so this is why I never really make garments or anything, because I'm just bored halfway through and it becomes something else. So why doll things are perfect for me. Right, now this is the last one that's a space, yeah? So we still need to do something. So in the very last, which would have been your 3 chain here, I want you to do a treble. We're going to do 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn. So now you can see basically it's just 2 different types of rows alternating. So because that counts as a treble, I'm just going to do 2 more trebles. I'm going to miss and then carry on exactly the same. Now I'm just going to get to the end of this row and then we will have a look at what we've done, and I'll try and describe it hopefully so you understand what I've done fully. But you just, it's the ends perhaps. The middle piece, the easy piece, because we're just doing 3 trebles into every space, aren't we? But it's getting those ends right. We do need to make sure we get them right. The ball's following me now. I will probably undo this little sample as well and add it to my granny square. Almost at the end. I just find it really relaxing doing this sort of style. It's like when I'm doing a granny square, I just find it really relaxing. If I'm sort of want to do some crochet but my head's not in thinking about it, or I don't want to think about how to do something, it's always granny squares. Or when I'm doing something like this, the granny lines. Should we call them granny lines? I don't know what to call them. Right, we are at that last one. Now we need to make sure we get something in here, so it is still 3. 1, 2 and 3. So let's have a little look at what we've got combination wise. The middle bit is easy. It is just, all this here is just 3 trebles into each space. As I said, don't worry about this. The more you do, the more this will straighten out. So the longer it gets, the better that will shape. Now, again, this is one if you're going to be going in that direction, which is what I did with this. No, it's this one. I did do it that direction, didn't I? I did do it that way, but you could do it in that direction. But it's the ends. This is what I wanted to sort of point out. Because the first one, we just started with the 3 chain, which does count as a treble. On the second row, you do need to make sure you get 3 trebles into that one. And then notice the third one is just the 1 chain again. And the fourth one is the 3 trebles. So that's going to alternate. So you'll have 3 trebles in the end one, just a 1 chain as it'll be, and then a 3 trebles, which is 1 chain, 2 trebles really, isn't it? So it's just alternating those end bits. And again, the same at the other end. You will see we have one that's just the chain, then we have the 3 trebles. Remember, chain part counts as that. If you're at, it's a bit hard to describe this really, isn't it? If you're at that end, it will be just 3 trebles here. If you're at this end, it'll be one set of chain and 2 trebles. But remember, that chain is a treble. But whenever you start a row, it's like now if I turn this, I always do my 3 chain before I turn just because I find it easier. So if I go 1, 2 and 3 and turn, that is my first stitch, okay? But if you look, this is one that had the 3 in, so this one does have to just be a single one on its own. So I just jumped to the space. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so you can see. It looks like a little patchwork actually in this yarn. We'll go another row. We'll do another row. So I say the middle bit's easy. It is just literally 3 trebles in each space. You don't need to think about it. It's just, that's all it is. It's just the beginnings and the ends. Each row will start with 3 chain, whether it be 3 chain and then 2 more trebles or just 3 chain, depends on the row you're on. But that does alternate. 1, 2 and 3. So soft, this yarn in my fingers. Almost at the end. So again, the beginning you have to think about it, and the end you have to think about. Now this one, if you look on the last one, it was 3 trebles. So this time, this last one is only going to be 1 treble. So it's alternating 3 trebles, 1 treble, 3 trebles, 1 treble. That's probably the easiest way of saying it. But remembering that your 3 chain is always counted as a treble. So if I want to do my next one, I go 1, 2 and 3 and turn. Look directly below. Last time it was only a single one, so this time I need to add 2 more trebles into it. And then I'll just do one more, just one more stitch, set of stitches should I say, and I'll stop. Right, I'm going to stop there. So can you see what's happening? It's alternating. So you get 3 chain, 3 chain, 2 trebles, 3 chain, 3 chains, 2 treble, 3 chains, 3 chains, 2 treble. And our other end, we get a treble, 3 trebles, treble, 3 trebles. So that is how it works. If you're always at one end, you'll be wherever you start with 3 chain, you'll be putting 2 trebles in, or just the 3 chain. If you're at the other end, it would just be, let me get this right, I need to explain it properly. It would either be just 3 trebles or 1 treble to finish, because it's got to alternate, because otherwise you're going to lose these sides. That is why you have to do that. So that was basically just a little sort of tutorial, sort of discussing what I did with the scarf and how to do some granny lines, we're going to call them. I have no idea, they've probably got a proper name. Let me know if you call them something else. But I just wanted to have a play with the yarns that we got, and that is the last from the Advent. I want to thank you so much for watching, if you've been watching, and hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If you've not seen my yarn sort of box, my Christmas Eve box, that's going to go up on Christmas Eve, even though I have opened it a little bit before. because we've got family around here at Christmas Eve, so I'll not be able to do it. So please have a look at that, because that's some wonderful yarn from Attic Spin Dye as well, apart from lots of goodies in there as well. It's really nice. So I will see you all very soon. I need to think of some crochet ideas for after Christmas, because I think we're looking towards Easter next. In fact, that'd be a really nice Easter colour, thinking about it. So I will see you all very soon, and thank you for watching and supporting, and have a lovely Christmas. Bye bye for now.